The Grand Valley Auto Sports Test, sponsored by Grand Valley Auto.
Welcome back once again to our Saturday Sports Special. Garrett Brown back again, bringing you the #1 sports show, according to my mom. Happy early Mother's Day, by the way. Just had to get that out of the way. Let's get things started with some high-intensity action out on the baseball diamond. The Colorado Mesa Mavericks baseball team bounced back in a big way yesterday after losing the first game Friday of their RMAC conference tournament play over to the MSU Denver Roadrunners. The Mavs took down Adams State to survive another day. They would get their rematch today with the Roadrunners, but entered play still needing to battle uphill. The Mavericks needed to win 2 games against the Roadrunners, who were undefeated in tournament play entering play today. While the Runners, they needed to just best the Mavericks one more time to lay claim to an RMAC tournament title. This game was billed as conference heavyweights colliding, and that's exactly what it was. After an early 6-0 CMU lead, the Roadrunners fought back and head into the final 2 innings. Things were tied up at 8-8. Mavs look to take the lead with the bases loaded for their most dangerous hitter, Cameron Cartwright, who brings in a run without swinging that potent bat of his, drawing a walk that allowed Kennedy Hara to come in and score. Mavs take a 9-8 late lead, but it wound up being the only run of the inning. And a one-run lead is certainly not safe. But in the 9th inning, Cartwright would come up again with the bases loaded, and this time, CMU's home run leader gets something he can work with. A no-doubter off the bat, a grand slam. As grand as they come, that gives the Mavs another big lead, 14-8 at Hamilton Ballpark, as the Mavericks dugout erupts in cheer. After maybe the biggest home run of the year for the Mavericks, that lead would be enough for J.J. Almeida to come in and shut things down. Also, the CMU bullpen celebration is unmatched. J.J. Almeida comes in to shut things down for the Mavs, striking out the final Roadrunner of the game, and CMU is able to force a win or go home matchup to decide it all at a final of 14-9. Game 2, before I even had time to write the first game wrap-up, the Mavs already blown this game wide open. A baker's dozen runs on the board in just the first couple innings after Metro sort of used up a lot of their best arms in Game 1 to try to get the knockout blow on the Mavs. Mavs up 13. And to quote my grandfather, they have him right where they want him. Big swing of the bat, unsurprisingly, came from number 7 there, Cameron Cartwright, who came up with the bases loaded. And, well, you can probably fill in the rest. Cartwright with a grand slam, 3 in this tournament. Just the RMAC tournament alone, David Craig tasked with putting this blowout win to bed. Mavs defense attempted to end the game with some flash here, but it winds up being a routine grounder off the bat here that does it. CMU is the RMAC tournament champs for a 3rd year in a row, taking down MSU Denver for the 2nd time today, battling all the way back from facing the brinks of elimination to ultimately take the title once again, winning at a final of 18-5. No surprise, guys in CMU hats litter the all-tournament team, and the trophy stays in Grand Junction. Also no surprise, the guy who seemingly hit a grand slam every time he stepped into the batter's box took home tournament MVP and even got a Gatorade bath alongside Coach Hanks. Cartwright and the Mavs stand alone atop the conference. Here's what the tournament MVP had to say on his approach, while emotions are seemingly all hitting him at once.
Get a good pitch to hit. I don't know, man. I'm just speechless. This is a great group of guys. We all work so hard throughout the whole year. It's awesome. I'm just trying to produce whenever I can.
Congrats again to the RMAC regular season and now RMAC tournament champs. CMU will now automatically qualify for the NCAA D2 tournament and await their postseason fate. All right, we need to get to commercial break here, but when we return, we'll check in on one of the most dominant teams, not just on the West Slope, but maybe in the state as they continue their postseason run. Well, as promised, we now turn to one of the most dominant teams, not just on the Western Slope, but maybe all of the state. Of course, I'm referring to the Delta Panthers girls soccer team. The Panthers posted an undefeated regular season and made a statement in their first-round matchup of the state playoffs earlier this week, keeping a good thing going, winning 10-0, and look to keep things rolling along on the pitch earlier today in the second round, taking on the Roaring Fork Rams, a team Delta was able to beat 5-2 back in April. Would the Panthers do it again, or would the Rams learn from last time? Well, the Panthers, let's cut to the chase here. They do it once again, shutting out Roaring Fork, taking down Roaring Fork in the second round, 6-0. The 5th shutout in a row for the Panthers, as they have now played 17 games this season and have been victorious in all of them. The numbers for this Delta team just gets more bonkers the more you look at their resume. Like we said, Delta Soccer is now 17-0. They've had 10 total shutouts this season. 5 of those have just come in the last 5 games they've played this year. They've also posted double-digit goals 5 times, including that win over the Elizabeth Cardinals in the first round of the tournament for Delta. And maybe the most wild, they don't give up goals often, with a shutout in more games they've played than not, but the Panthers have only allowed a team to score more than once, twice all year, and one of those teams was against Roaring Fork, who they just took out of the playoffs. Taking a look at what lies ahead now for the Panthers in their state quarterfinal game. In their side of the bracket, the number 3 seeded Panthers now draw the Timnath Cubs in the next round, the 11 seed in the region, who just took down the highest remaining seed on the Panthers side of the bracket, Manitou Springs, who Delta actually matched up with earlier in the year and defeated 3-1. The Panthers and Cubs will meet in Delta Tuesday at 6. Wonder if that game will head to the state semifinals that are held over in the Front Range. All right, now let's check in on some of the developments on the diamond, as we're down to just a couple of games before the high school baseball state playoffs. Let's run through some of these scores rapid-fire style that have come across the desk. The Cedar Edge Bruins continue to tear through their schedule, winning 12-0 in a game where the Bruins put up one or more run in every inning, and they have double-digit runs in 5 games in a row. Rifle Best Battle Mountain after a complete game from Ryder Bjorstrom, where he punched out 9 batters. Palisade wins big 11-0 over Durango. Olathe also posts 11 runs in a win against Ignacio. Delta takes their first conference loss of the year. 3-8 Coleridge is your score there. Rifle comes back around and takes down Battle Mountain again, this time winning closer 5-4. Fruita Monument gets the better of a Front Range foe, taking down Lakewood in a makeup game from a game that was postponed earlier this season due to weather. Nucleus takes their Class 1A regional. They win that matchup against Rocky Mountain Lutheran 12-2. That was a 5-12 seed matchup. It's time for some more of those commercials, but when we return, we're going to take a look at the Nuggets playoff run and where they go from here. Well, the Denver Nuggets just retook the lead in their second-round series with the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the Nuggets defended their home court at Ball Arena in Game 3, winning in overtime 113-104. What did we learn from Game 3? Well, for starters, Denver's defense fared much better back at home than they did in Game 2, where the Thunder put up a playoff record 87 points, the most and a half in an NBA playoff game ever. One of the key contributors for Denver, Michael Porter Jr. came up big in Denver's Game 3 win. Porter has been playing through a painful left shoulder sprain that he suffered trying to corral a loose ball against the Clippers last round. That injury has limited his effectiveness as a rebounder and a shooter. But when superstar Nikola Jokic struggled in the Friday night game, it was Porter who stepped up biggest to make up for Jokic's struggles, scoring 21 points and going 7 of 10 shooting. That includes 5 of 6 clip from deep, and he pulled down 8 rebounds, 7 on the defensive side to counter OKC's notorious defense and high-powered offense. Jamal Murray continues to come up big in the playoffs for Denver as well, with 27 points, 8 assists, 4 steals, and just a pair of turnovers in Game 3 as well. All right, we got to get to the final drive. We're going to stick with pro sports. Don't go anywhere. All right, Robbie Patlin might have touched on this in some of the earlier shows, but 11-year NFL vet Derek Carr is calling it a career. Citing injury concern, Carr originally drafted by the then Oakland Raiders, and Bronco fans, you're probably not too fond of this guy. The Raider and New Orleans Saints quarterback posted an all-time record of 11-6 against the Broncos, and selfishly, I picked this for final drive since I got a front row seat to Carr during his college days when he played for my hometown Fresno State Bulldogs. Preteen Garrett was probably decked out in some red in those stands. We tried to splice in some of his archive footage, but we ultimately ran out of time. So there you go. There's my selfish segment for every couple of weeks. That'll do it for the final whistle. Thank you so much for watching.